Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, before we do get into this story, there is some warnings on the story, so I do want to throw those out there just in case you want to skip it. Totally up to you. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. But it talks about cults, grooming and child marriage, domestic abuse and child abuse as well. So, as I said, if you want to skip it, please feel free to do so. And now we're getting started. The story is titled, "My older sister that went no contact gave me a harsh reality check." And we also get the older sister's side of the story. My older sister, female 31, we'll call her Jessie, went no contact with me and the rest of the family close to 10 years ago. I was 13 when this all happened. All I remembered was I came home from school with my other siblings and both of my parents told me that Jessie was no longer a part of our family and that she chose Satan over family, and I remember being crushed. I think I cried when they first told me because I felt like she just abandoned me. After that conversation, my parents banned us from speaking about Jessie and removed all photos of her around the house. The months that went on without Jessie, the more I grew to hate her and got angry as she chose Satan over our family. Meanwhile, for me, I stayed very much loyal to my parents. I studied the Bible day and night and was active in my church, just so I could prove to my parents I was not like Jessie. At 16, my parents signed off and I got married to my now husband. Then, 6 months after our wedding, I got pregnant with my first child and I had a tough birth. It was an at-home birth, and to put it in simpler terms, I almost died. I lost a lot of blood and on top of that went into heart failure. I didn't know, but Jessie tried showing up to the hospital, but my parents had security escort her out. Jessie tried to reach out to me numerous times throughout the years, but I always blocked her because I was under the impression she was an apostate. Fast forward to now. I'm 23 and I have 4 daughters. Also recently found out I was pregnant and I went to an eye doctor appointment, and guess who was at the front desk? My older sister Jessie. I was kind of stuck for a moment because a part of me just wanted to hug her and tell her how much I missed her, but I just couldn't, given everything I was told about her. She tried to make small talk with me, but I gave her the cold shoulder a bit towards the end of my visit. She gave me a card with her number and told me to please meet up with her to explain her side. After 3 days of going back and forth with myself, I decided to meet up with her for closure initially. She told me she never wanted to leave me, but the church left her no choice. Her ex-husband that she was married to while she was in the church was abusive towards her and was beating the crap out of her, and she begged our minister to be released from marriage and he didn't allow it. Since she was scared for her and my nephew's life, she left. As awful as it sounds, I did not believe her, because her ex-husband got remarried to one of my friends and she has no visible signs of abuse, or let alone told me she was getting hurt by him. She then went into about how our parents are part of a cult and how it destroyed our family. I remember I did get angry with her and started calling her an apostate, and that she was lying to protect herself from sin. She then just lets me have it and says, "I've been trying to be nice to you because even if you don't feel like you're a victim, you were a child bride that also dropped out of school to become a wife and mother. The only reason why the church is nice to you is because of your daughters, and they don't want to piss you off and lose the girls. If you want to continue to be brainwashed and spineless, be my guest. But if you can't leave yourself, leave for your daughters." Then she just gets up and leaves. Ever since that conversation, I've been replaying everything I was ever taught in my life and questioning it. I've been Googling, reading Reddit stories, but thinking about the religion I invested so much time into being a complete lie is honestly too hurtful to think about. Especially my husband. Is our relationship a lie? Did he groom me, or was he also a victim of the circumstances of our religion? I have the answer to none of these questions, and I quite honestly don't know if I want to know. Edit. Thank you for everyone for your feedback. I've been reading all the comments and to answer a couple of repetitive questions. I don't feel comfortable revealing what church I'm a part of, given I have no idea if anyone actually creeps on Reddit. I don't want to risk it. Secondly, my husband. He's not abusive towards me and never once hit me or his daughters. But also he works 60 hours a week, so our time together is limited these days. As far as my sister, She has sent me a follow-up text after our conversation, apologizing to me for being blunt with me. I haven't responded because I still have so much to think about. I have virtually nowhere to start, it feels. But I also want to apologize if I came across as a victim blamer in my post. That was never my intention. So, Advantage Visual in the comments comes in and says, yeah dude, you're in a cult. Anyone whose family and community shunned someone just for getting a divorce and had her parents sign her away to a man at 16 is 100% in a cult. The fact that you still seem to think your sister deserved what happened to her and are more concerned about your relationship with your husband than her leads me to believe you're basically swimming in the Kool-Aid. Your sister was right. It's time to think about your daughters and what their lives will be like if they're taught that their only purpose in life is to get married to a man and have babies. Don't you want more for them? Will Say Anything says you are 23 with 4 daughters. You were married off at 16 and pregnant 6 months later. Who do you think is telling the truth? Jesse is pulling the wool from over your eyes. You have 4 daughters. The only way to keep them in that environment and promise child brides to more men is to make sure you don't leave the religion. If you don't walk away from that religion, you're sealing the fate of your daughters. I wish Jesse nothing but happiness. Jamjar's reply saying this, having your entire perceived reality ripped from you in one fell swoop is so extremely painful and confusing. You are doing such hard work, and you've reached a point many people won't even get to. Be proud of yourself. I know it hurts to keep pushing. Please try to imagine the future your daughters can have if you give them the choice. Please remember that if you raise them as you were raised, it is likely they will never have a choice. Special Lychee says, here's something to think about. You had your first kid as a teenager. You almost died giving birth. What made your husband think it's okay for you to have 3 more pregnancies? A woman that used to be my best friend had a birth that resulted in a lot of blood loss and the chance of not making it. Her partner refused to have any more children because he did not want to risk losing her. By the sounds of it, women, girls really, are a commodity in your church to be traded and to ensure fresh blood of new members. Do some more research of your own and don't be afraid to look up the hard stuff from former members, then reevaluate. At first, I want to say, Jesse sounds like a pretty amazing person to be still looking out after all this time and trying to help you in this situation. And I also agree with the comments that, what it must be like to have this be your normal growing up and then have this sort of eye-opening experience from Jesse, the truth revealed to you, and realizing your whole life is messed up. That's gotta be I can't even imagine what that's like, to be fair. It must be so painful, so confusing, so many thoughts going through your head at the same time. But like a lot of the comments said as well, I would seriously consider the future of your children. But Jessie left a comment on the post herself. She said, hey, it's Jessie. I'm glad you took my advice and did some research and looked at subreddits about everything I told you 2 weeks ago. It is a shame that you never responded to me and did not follow up on anything. I really wished you would just talk to me. However, like I've been saying this entire time, I would help you and my nieces in any way to get you out of the situation. Still, your actions, however, have made it seem like you're not interested given how much detail you've conveniently left out in regards to our parents, your husband, and the reason why I left. Because your husband is 35 years old? I have no idea why you made him younger in these comments. Also, maybe you do not know, but mum and dad had him picked out for you prior to him even asking to court you. Right when you were only 13, his name was being thrown out as a suitor for you. So I don't know why you made it seem like it's a woman's choice in the comments, when it never is, and you know that. I know you know the organization is wrong because you refuse to answer a lot of questions in these comments and how you conveniently left out a lot of things. I love you, but I hope you wake up soon and stop purposefully being delusional and protect my nieces from the men in the organization. You know the same men that protected the guy that molested you, and I was the only person that believed you. I know you know deep down that they deserve better lives. I know you're a victim of the organization and suffered probably way more than me at this point. Our parents failed both of us and never protected us. And I wish more than anything I could have protected you better and taken you with me when I left. Again, I love you. Please don't become like our parents. Jessie, the sister, added another post and said, I saw that my sister posted here and the post gathered a lot of traction, so I thought it would be necessary to share my side. I'm Jessie in her story, and I commented on her post. I don't remember her exact username, but I'm here to offer a bit of better context. My sister is in a religious cult that she's willingly participating in, and in my opinion putting my nieces in potential harm's way. I know she sees me as some devil that was sent by Satan to tempt her, but I'm most definitely not that. I'm not going to say what church to protect my sister. However, she should face some accountability given she's an adult now. But to start from the beginning, we come from a big family of 8 siblings total, with 6 boys and the other 2, which are me and my sister. I pretty much raised my siblings being the 3rd oldest, especially my younger sister. And it kinda hurt that she brushed past that in her post. But moving on, I looked after her and my siblings until I was married off, which was when I was 18, and it would probably be 16 if I wasn't firm about finishing high school. But I didn't want to get married, and the only reason why I married my ex-husband was because he was the only suitor at the time in the religion that was okay about me continuing my studies and go to college. I regret that now, given he was lying. He got me pregnant right away and was an abuser. I'm not going to go into detail, but he would most likely have killed me or my son if it wasn't for me leaving when I did. My son was also the main factor in why I left. So it's baffling to me that my sister has 4 daughters and does not ever have the urge to leave. Instead, continue to listen to these same men who told me I needed to stay with my abuser, because it was a testament from God that I needed to get through it with my husband. Then, my birth givers. Honestly, they should be in jail if you ask me. Especially my father. He's a shit person. I saw him fist fight with my brothers regularly back when he was like 200 pounds and my brothers was like 80 pounds. He's never hit me personally, but I've seen him quite literally knock the wind out of my brother, and we were conditioned to think that was normal, and it wasn't. I know my sister is not going to like me bringing in our parents, because the way her life is now is thanks to them. But I mean, it has its benefits because she's probably the golden child for them. Because she's not the difficult child and is the one who does what she's told. Now her husband. He's 35 years old. So yes, he was 28 marrying a 16-year-old. Or you ask, how is that legal? In my awful state, you can get married at 16 with parental permission. And on top of that, the age of consent is 16 years old. So everything was legal. I remember when I first heard she was getting married to her husband, I tried everything in my power to stop the marriage from going through. I got the police involved and they were absolutely useless. Because of the First Amendment. On top of that, they privately interviewed my little sister, and she basically said she's not being forced to do anything against her will. So there's nothing the cops could do. I still get mad at the situation to this day. Luckily, her husband is not abusive. She got extremely lucky there, but he's still horrible in my opinion. It's absolutely ridiculous how she has either been pregnant or had a baby on her hip the entirety of their marriage so far. So she couldn't finish high school because of the lack of help with the baby, plus he nearly killed my sister when he pushed for an at-home birth knowing she had preeclampsia. And he also threatened me with a restraining order when I tried to go see her in the hospital. Now back to our conversation 2 weeks ago. You really hurt me when you didn't believe me about my abuse. Like I was honestly devastated that you would believe a man who signed his rights away as a father to protect his image than me, your sister. But I also know you're extremely naive and have been severely brainwashed, so I'm not mad at you. But I was indeed hurt by you. Given everything you have told me, I believed you without any hesitation. Also, when you didn't want to bring your daughters to meet my kids, that hurt me also. Especially seemingly you didn't want to acknowledge my kids when we met up. I'm saying this because I want you to know that your actions do have cause and effect on other people, because I don't think you understand that fully. I hate that I've resorted to a Reddit post to get your freaking attention. But maybe once you see the countless people in here saying the same thing, maybe you would realize I'm on your side, and I've always been on your side. The people in that organization only care about you and your family because you have daughters, and you're still willing to pop more kids out for them and blindly follow them. Again, I will repeat myself. I will help you if you let me, but as of right now, you are not letting me. Update. I'm so glad this gained traction and you guys got my sister to respond to me, so thank you. However, it wasn't what I wanted to hear. We talked on the phone for about 3 hours today, and it was a lot of back and forth. Put it quite simply, My sister does not want to leave her husband, but she does want to leave the religion. So she wants time to potentially convince him to leave with her. In my humble opinion, I don't see him leaving the church, but she thinks otherwise. I then asked her if she would still leave if he didn't want to, and she didn't give me a firm yes or no. The only thing she said, she wants to wait until she has her baby since she is pregnant. I'm kinda disappointed, I'm not going to lie. It sounds like she was making excuses to shut me up. I'm sorry it's not the update you all wanted to hear. I'd hate for her to leave me no choice and to go nuclear on her and get my friend who's a social worker to get CPS involved. But I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to calm down for now. But it's frustrating trying to talk sense into anyone that's so brainwashed and sees me as like one of Satan's disciples. And what an incredibly difficult situation. I've seen a lot of documentaries and articles and survivor stories themselves about cults on Reddit, and the power they have over their victims is just, it's so immense. I'm not excusing anything here, but it's just stuff that I've read and seen, and like the stories of survivors themselves and the way that they were thinking. So it doesn't surprise me that the original OP is this way. You know, everything's been normalized for them. This was their life. This is how they've grown up to be their normal. Yes, they're an adult, but they've been taught this their whole life. This is the way life should be. Can they change? Should they change? Hopefully. I do really hope so. But on the back of that update, it just felt very bleak. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. And I understand why it's frustrating for Jessie. It must be so painful to see someone that you love, someone that you want to help, seeing the children involved as well and wanting them out of that situation and being pretty powerless, really. All you can do is talk to them and hope for the best. Try to open their eyes further to what's going on around them. But in the end, they do have to make their decisions. And I think in some ways, and you know, this might sound pretty brutal, and I don't mean it to be this way because I think it's absolutely fucking horrific what Jessie went through. The original OP has had a different experience compared to Jessie. Jessie, she may have been likely to leave the cult at some point down the line anyway, but the way the story read, it made it sound like the tipping point was the physical abuse towards her and her son. And she was like, nope, I'm out of here kind of thing. And she said her son was the main factor in why she left. But like I said, from videos I've seen before, advice subreddits I've seen before, it sounds like Jessie can only talk to her and try to be understanding as possible while slowly opening her eyes to what's going on around her. But what an absolute terrifying situation. What do you guys make of this one? What advice could you give to OP? Before I do wrap it up, I just spotted this comment just as I was walking away there. I was just scrolling down and I spotted Sailing with the Stars, who said, I understand where the older sister is coming from, but I can see why OP, the younger sister, is making the decision she's making. Cults can have a strong grip on their followers, especially to followers where that's all they've ever known. The people that leave can be in the minority versus the majority who stay. I think an important part in what makes it harder for the younger sister is that she has 4 kids versus older sister who had 1 kid and a high school diploma when she left. Trying to raise 4 kids, even with a sister's help, would be difficult. I think the fact that the older sister, as fucked up as it sounds, was abused by her ex-spouse affected her to leave sooner rather than later. While OP's husband being mostly gone for work and not abusive, as far as we're aware, might not instill a sense of urgency or fear that the older sister had for herself and her son. OP is also only 23. Her brain isn't even fully developed. She's getting all this new info that shakes her core beliefs and experiences that she was most likely abused and shamed into for all of her life. Her not doing a complete 180, divorcing her husband, cutting ties with her community, her then being shunned by them. Understand why she's so reluctant to leave. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Absolutely terrifying. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.